everyday bar, stand up, stretch, sit down, get straight to it.
Yes sir, season 3, episode 3. Got some special guests in the building. Got
SOAL
Sound in the building.
Got the whole crew, what I say.
Yeah, go ahead and introduce ourselves.
Oh. My name is Simi and Liadi.
I'm Giles.
I'm Kaleb. And I'm Celest.
Yes sir, so how y'all feeling today?
Yeah, I'm chilling.
Nah, we happy to see y'all in here. Y'all famous, making motion on inside of this
And we
game.
got a bunch of people. Like, so how did like SOAL get started, you know? Y'all collecting, how did that come about?
How did it go?
So it really honestly started with Simi, right? Because she released her first song in July 2020. And then I somehow became her manager because this nigga actually, it was a joke. He was like, yo, Simi, let Giles manage you. And she was like, yo, we can talk about it. So we did. And that started, he was trying to make music too from, started a few years back. And just kind of started really getting into motion in 2021 and 2020. So I don't know, I kind of just, we noticed like the network that was just naturally being built around us. Like everybody had their little thing that they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point we're in a situation where there's so many independent artists. A lot of them are built, like the game is super, super fire, but
How many artists y'all got right now? And so,
it's only Simi and Kaleb.
Okay, so you got the rap.
Singing
Yeah.
you get it out of it.
We're missing one more member.
Oh, yeah.
Simi not here.
Yeah.
Should be at the next one though.
Say less.
I bet.
So Simi, like what? Matter of fact, let's just start from the beginning. Like when did you find me to sing?
So, like, I was singing when I was younger. Like,
Church choir?
It was church choir. No, it was ICCB. I started, like, officially singing when I was 12.
Okay.
That was when I joined the church choir for the first time. And, like, that's when I kind of learned, like, the ins and outs of, like, actual, like, learning about music, learning about harmonies, about all that type of stuff. So it gave me the foundation that I use for my music today, honestly. Yeah.
I mean, listen, unfortunately, I also have to sing in church choir.
No, 7 years in that choir.
I practice every Tuesday. There's no way I'm doing it.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
like-
same quiet as hell.
Like it was definitely a lot, but I don't regret the time that I spent there because I learned a lot when I was learning. But,
Were you forced into it, or was it like?
No, I actually wanted to join.
Oh, okay.
I was very like, I would see on stage everybody was leaving and stuff. And like I was cause I know I guess I'm a little weird, but I know like usually Africans, like the Christian radio they usually listen to is like 91.9. I did it though. That's the thing. I listened to the gospel radio, so I already had like gospel music was what I grew up on. So I didn't know all the songs back then.
Right.
So when I joined the choir and then that's what we sang, that's what basically gave me my basis. That's why I was excited to join because I would hear all the choir and the gospel. I'm like, yeah, I was that too.
My mom's
like,
so crazy. I don't know.
yeah.
I get
No,
it.
I don't want not being how they I grew up on gospel and I love contemporary like Christian music.
Yeah, as soon as you said radio, I was like, she better not say that one. Literally, like, I'm not listening to anything else. I know what 95.5 was.
It's
Like,
like we all in the same life, bro.
Yeah.
Growing up, like we all had the same type of upbringing.
that's all they play in the car. So I'm
Like,
different for sure.
So when did you break away from like gospel to make your own music?
Oh, okay. So, I honestly didn't start listening to like non-Christian music until I got to high school.
Really?
Yeah. It was. I was deep.
They had you.
Yeah, no, they had me. So, I didn't start listening to like other music, like secular music until I got to high school, and then it just opened up a new world for me musically because like I've been so used to gospel, and then when it wasn't gospel, it was like Hillsong Contemporary and like all that stuff. So getting introduced to like R&B, like Frank Ocean, SZA, who else was to like her. I was just like, wow, like this is so different, but this is so cool. So I remember I used to write songs when I was like way younger, all the gospel songs, of course. So I remember writing my first like non-gospel song towards like my senior year, going into my freshman year of college, that was when I, started to think like about songwriting. But even then, I was really scared because one thing about me that I always had an issue with is that I knew how to start a song, but I didn't know how to finish. So I was like, I can never be a songwriter, and like, or I can never be a singer. I can never make my own music, especially because all the musical influences that I've had when I was younger were like these big, powerful gospel singers, and I just don't have that voice. So I was like, if I can't sing like that, then I can't sing. Period. Like I know I had a little voice when I was singing in high school and stuff like that for events, and people would tell me like, "Oh, Simi, you're such a good singer. You should make music." I was like, they just talking, like just chatting. But I think once I realized that like I don't have to have this like powerhouse vocal to sing, or I don't have to be this box of an artist to be able to be an artist, that's when I was like, okay, maybe I can actually do this for real.
Did you feel bad writing your first non-gospel song?
I didn't really feel that bad, only because like I was writing about an experience that I had went through, so it was more like me telling a story rather than me like talking about something secular. But I mean, I've moved like away from Christianity, so like I don't even feel bad about it no more. This is like this is my music, like I don't care. But I think as I started to grow as a person and kind of like realize who I was outside of Christianity, I started feeling like less and less bad for making secular music.
What made you like move outside of Christianity though?
Child.
Oh Lord.
Long story, but to sum it up, I was just realizing that at some point it wasn't helping me grow as a person. Like it was kind of holding me back more than it was helping me to like realize who I am. And a lot of insecurities about myself was stemming from it because I couldn't be a perfect Christian. And so it was really like beating me up, and I was like, what's the point of being a Christian if I can't do it right? And like constantly hearing a lot of stuff from people from church, like all these standards and all these quotas that you have to fulfill, and like being in the choir to make it much better, like just so much pressure. And like just realizing that like I'm not learning who I am in this anymore. Like it gave me the foundation that I needed, but now I'm ready to discover who I actually am outside of doctrine and like religion. So yeah, that's to make it short.
Yeah, I mean, so I feel like at the end of the day, like it's each personal. You have to do what's best for you at the end of the day. So, some people can gravitate. I think like certain things can make Christianity have a bad name for whether it's like people who try to perpetuate certain stereotypes, or make you feel bad for not doing what you're supposed to do. So it's like to each their own. You know what I'm saying? Each person has their own journey with whoever they believe in. You know what I'm saying? So as long as you find what's comfortable for you and you feel comfortable, that's all that matters.
Yeah, like each religious journey is really like it's a personal one. Like it's not something that you could like, oh, they're doing this, they're doing that. Like what works for you? Exactly. What works for you is your God.
Yeah, comparison was definitely a big issue for me as well. And I think like a lot of people like, I don't know, I think a lot of people get stuck on like the rigidness of it, and it's like, to me, I always believe that like you can start off anything, but that doesn't mean you're gonna be that forever. Like I could start off being a Christian, and then I could become Muslim, and then I could decide I want to go into Judaism. Like you're growing as a person, so who says that this one belief is gonna stay with you forever? Like you're growing. Like it's not to say that like, and not to say that it's like, I mean, of course people can be Christian for the rest of their lives, but just making sure that whatever you're involved in is growing with you. Like you're not holding yourself back because you're trying to stay in something that was in one phase of your life already.
Gotcha. So talk more about that growth you've been having, like more so on like a music sense. Like where do you think you started off, and how do you think you've gotten better as an artist?
So I think it's so funny because my first song, Clear, like it wasn't what I thought was gonna be my first release. Like I had a completely different plan for what my first release was gonna be, but like God had other plans clearly. And I think that from the start, like my vision for music has just become clearer and clearer as I continue to go. And like I think it's been an incredible boost of confidence for me because it gave me passion. Because that was one thing I was really searching for coming into college. Like even with my major, like I kind of knew I liked, I came in with a psychology major. I'm still a psychology major, but even with that, like I had to fight my parents on that to like be a psych major. Like I had to be on the pre-physical therapy track just to be able to like be a psych major. And so I remember even with that, I was like, is this really what I want to do? Like I like psychology a lot, like where am I going with this? And like it was that trying to figure out like where am I going with And then it was like, it's good. As soon as I released Clear, like it was like everything became clear. Like I tell you, like honestly, that song was like a manifestation. I didn't even know it. It was like everything began to make sense once I released my first song. I was like, this is what I should have been doing my entire this whole time. Like, and now I have something to put my vision into. So I would say, even from my first release till now, like the confidence that I have in not only my skill, but in my passion, in my drive, in my team, in my like influence, like it's completely grown. And I feel like the more I do it, the more I'm like, there's literally nothing else that I should be doing with this.
That's amazing. So you definitely feel like you found your purpose.
Well, I'll say I found my passion because purpose I feel like is always different because it's trying to figure out how my craft and how my passion is going to serve others. So I have my passion. I know exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. But I think it's going to take the journey to figure out what my purpose is. Like, where do I fit in the work? Where do I fit in people's lives? How is my passion going to play into my influence on others?
That's hard. That was a bar.
That's really something that I've been like trying to figure out too. Like, what's my passion? Like, how can we use this podcast to impact others positively? Like, use your platform to do better, bigger, and better things.
Literally.
Like, that's what we.
And I think also like obviously people want to find their passion, people want to find their purpose, but like realizing like you can't put pressure on yourself to do that because it's like it's gonna come. Like if you asked me 3 years ago, like junior year of high school, if I was gonna be doing this, I would have told you no. Like maybe like in a million years, like but it like life just happens and shit just happens and it comes to you and like as long as you are learning more about yourself and figuring yourself out and staying true to yourself, it will be revealed to you in one way or another. It'll come as an idea, it'll come as a suggestion, it'll come as something, and like the more you just look inward, the more you'll see it on the outside.
That's amazing.
So Giles, as her manager, like how have you seen her grow? Like, you know, say for the first song,
I think from the beginning, it was just more of okay, I found something that I'm good at. Like, well, I should say I found another thing that I'm good at, and I'm having a good time doing it. But just like since summer 2020, 2021 into now, I feel like Simi's like a star waiting to pop. Like that's genuinely how I see it. Like it's really just like a matter of that. Like, it's a matter of like that right person that sees it. I feel like she's gotten to the point where like this is truly a part of who she is. Like it's a part of aside from the talent, just what she wants to do. Like and that's you really couldn't ask for more. Right?
Yeah, you can.
Like if Simi wasn't passionate about it, then my job would be hard as heck. So
did you always think you were gonna be a manager? Like,
nah, I want to be a YouTuber. I want to be a YouTuber.
I see it.
Oh my gosh,
I was thinking that bullshit that's like skits.
Oh my gosh.
I was thinking like skits, bro. I was telling in the chat, like when I have 48 views an hour, I would cry.
I was always disappointed though. I would watch every video.
It was funny, bro.
Nah, bro, but yeah, so starting off, I wanted to be a YouTuber, and then Kaleb came to my house one day with our friend Tim, he was the other part of him. He was just telling us like, I'm about to do music. Giles, you're gonna be my man. I was like, alright, bet. But that didn't mean nothing to me at that point. Yeah, I was like, yeah, cool, music. And then it happened, so yeah.
Yeah, so focusing more on like the team. Like you mentioned the team, like clearly like you have like a very solid support system. Like everybody else seems like we're close together. Like talk more about like the team. How did it form? Like we got friends before. Like talk more about how SOAL like became, like grew as like a collective, pretty much.
Okay. Well, first thing I'll say is quarantine. As terrible as it was, like great things came out of it. Man. So we were friends before. I was real close with Kaleb because we went to middle school together, and then we rekindled in high school. And he was really close with this girl. He is really close with Timmy.
And I'm close with Timmy.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So.
And Uncle Celest,
me and Kaleb, Simi, like we're super
all
close.
friends.
Yeah, we
I
all
was
friends.
introduced to Giles through like Kaleb and Timmy, and so we had like a little group chat, and this was kind of like right after they were like, Simi, you should finish my job, whatever. Lord don't let me imagine. Yeah. But I think it was like we realized like Giles, like his mind is so big, like he just thinks so far ahead, and so like he just sees the potential in everybody, and I think he was seeing our group and like seeing, oh, you know, this could really be something.
Right.
Like, this could be something more than just us in a group chat supporting each other. This could be like a collective. This could be something that's like actually solidified. So I think that kind of, his passion for that is what inspired our passion to actually, you know, put in the work to make it happen. You take off from here.
I appreciate that.
So how did the name SOAL come about though? Like who thought of that? What's the meaning behind it? Is there a meaning behind it?
I don't know, meaning no, but like it came with it's our last name, the first initial. We got his last name, Sam, OG.
So that's the only one that's
I'm not included in that.
Because he came a little late.
I came a little late.
But yeah, that's where it came.
That shit
And I
came
mean, if it
together.
has any meaning, it's really just like, it's like a group of friends that also love music.
Yeah,
Like, if there's any meaning in it, like, that's what it is.
Cause soul just sounds like tough, so that's cool that all y'all last name has
Yeah, we spent
long ass time. We hop on the phone and just like brainstorm.
names.
Nowhere.
Oh my gosh.
So like, talk more like, when I was in so like, y'all are like pretty much like a record label, that was like a vision essentially, right? So obviously we have like OVO, we have good music, all these different record labels. Like how do y'all try to like, you know, make your own impact, and how do you like, cause how many record labels do you have in the DMV? I can't name like one other than Soul. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, how has it been trying to like trying to be in that space, trying to be a record label, and how's it been trying to like find your own place in the world, basically?
Okay. Well, yeah, like, I definitely think you're right. Like, there are obviously there's some labels in DMV, like you know, they might be hard to find, or whatever. But like, I think, you know, from the perspective of someone who is just a big fan of music, who might not be super well versed in like how the labels work or how the collectors work, like it might seem like you just don't know. Like it might just seem like there aren't any.
Right.
And one thing I will say, I mean, after doing this, you know, with them for this period of time, I can definitely say like in comparison to the amount of artists that you'll see, there's not that many, like, there's not even a lot of managers.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, especially at this level, like, people don't really got that team, or at least they don't got that group of people to grow with.
And that's why I feel like I'm like very grateful that Giles found me when he did, because like I said, Lord knows if I had to do all this stuff myself, I probably wouldn't be where I am right now, because you need people as much. Like, I feel like sometimes when people hear independent artists, they think completely independent. And it's like, you cannot build a house in a day. Like, you cannot grow as an artist without people who are there, who are ready to believe in you, support you, find opportunities for you. Like, I cannot do half of the stuff that, like, you know, he has a brain that can compartmentalize stuff, and like, he's looking for events and stuff like that, and he gives me the room to focus on what I'm good at, which is the talent, all the other stuff I would do. Yeah. And like, I mean, he does the same thing for everybody. Like, everybody plays their part, and I feel like with the record label itself, like right now, our goal is to build ourselves. Like right now, the goal is laying foundation, because we can't like overshoot ourselves. We don't want to like, now we can start signing people. We can start doing this. Like, we're trying to be practical and wait until we have the resources. Yes, resources to be able to to be able to like grow and reach out to people. But we have to start with ourselves. Like, we're still learning the ropes. We're still learning about the music business. We're still learning about how things work. We're still growing as artists. So the more we grow, the more we can take in, the more things we can do. But it is a step-by-step process, and there's no rush, because it's like, we're growing as a group, we're growing as people, we're growing as individuals, and we're growing as artists, we're growing as managers, we're growing as our roles. So as we grow, the more things we'll be able to do. So the goal right now is just to learn as much as possible and implement as much as possible.
Also bounce off what she said, I agree 100%. And I think another goal that we sort of have is to just have fun with it.
Honestly.
Because, I mean, at least for me, one thing, also to go back to your question about like, sort of what it's like, kind of being in that individual space, along with trying to have fun with it and trying to build ourselves and lay that foundation, I think it's important to create a space, a platform where you can like have people share the music with you, have people come out to events, have events, spread the word, share the that personal.
Be involved with your
that personal interaction. Like that's really where everything is. You know what I'm saying? Everything else is just like social media is just like a landing page for everything. You know? Really trying to build that connection with people is super important. Yeah. Fuck, I forgot what I was about to say.
It's all good, man.
It's all good.
That was good too.
So walk us through like a day in the life, like I go to the studio. Like how is it like in the studio? You know, like I'm trying to record. Like walk us through that.
Well, it's probably not as fun as y'all think it is, but I mean, honestly, well, for me, it's just I figure out when I need to go to the studio. Usually with me, I try to plan what I'm already going to do before I get there, because I like to always have a game plan because I get distracted very easily. Right. So I always like to make sure that I know what song I'm going to be coming to bring in, or like if we're going to be doing freestyles or we're going to do whatever, I know what I'm doing coming in. I go to my friend Bottle Black. He was a producer, so that's who I usually go to. I usually go in there, like, I record, like I work on my harmonies, I make sure like everything sounds good. I don't usually like leaving until something's complete. Or if I can't record that day, if it's just not, like the vibes are not right, I'll come back like a couple days after and get stuff done. But my day can vary, like there's a lot, like, I can do a lot of stuff one day and I can do nothing some days. Like it really just depends on how busy that week is gonna be. Like sometimes I have photo shoots to do, sometimes I have like videos I have to do, but I can't really give you a day to day, because every day is different, you know?
So like talk about like the whole process of being in the studio. Like, we all hear I'm about to go to the studio. You all think it's like just chill, good vibe, like it's just easy, but it's like people don't really understand. Like you gotta sit there with the engineer, understand what's going on. Like run that back, do this again, play this again. So like, talk about like that whole learning that whole process.
I think it's interesting. Before I even get to how I am in the studio, I think it's interesting that you said that, because one thing I be trying to, like back when I was first starting and like first time like actually recording with people and stuff like that. Like I would always try to find videos of like artists in the studio, like, and not rappers, I need singers, like I need singers in the studio, but like nobody even making music.
And I feel like we need a lot more though.
I know,
and
I've
seen some studio sessions here and they always look like amazing.
Yeah, and I think it's important that like I think I want to also start trying to like record some of my studio sessions just so like I can have them for myself, and then also to help share to other people too, because it's like, you know, people want to know what's going on back there. Not everything, because like y'all can't know all my stuff. But yeah, you know. But for me, I usually go into the studio, and if I've already been working on a song, I'll just give an example of when I already have a song that I usually record everything at my place first, because I have like a little setup at my place. So I'll record a demo in my room. I'll send the stems to my producer, and then I'll get to the studio, and he'll have the beat or whatever, and then I'll just re-record. I always start with my lead vocals. I'll record everything. I'll do it till I get it right. I'm one of those people I'll record again and again. And I feel like sometimes artists, like, they feel like bad when they have to repeat stuff, but like, listen, it's gonna be your song at the end of the day, and it's like if you don't re-record that one thing, you're gonna hear it every time you hear the song. You know what I'm saying? So I'll go through all my lead vocals, and then I'll record all of my harmonies. That's like the most important part for me. Like, I really do pay attention to the harmonies, like stacking the vocals and making sure that the song is like moving and stuff. And then I'll listen to it over and over again and make sure, like, do I want to add anything? Do I want to take away anything? Like, there was a song I was playing yesterday actually that I ended up having to change the entire beat because it just wasn't working. And like, you know, you go in there, you're just basically, I don't know, it's like you're going in there, it's like you're creating art, and like you're going through, you're nitpicking, you're adding things, you're taking away things, and then like the studio can definitely be fun. Like I've had fun sessions, especially when it's just like people I'm already comfortable with. Sometimes I just want to like, you know, fuck around, but a lot of times when I'm going to the studio, it's like I gotta get shit done. And I take my studio time very seriously. Usually I don't even go with friends. I usually go by myself unless I know that it's going to be a pretty lax, or I don't really have to do much. But I'll usually go by myself, and I just lock in until I get what I need to get done. Yeah.
That's solid. So Kaleb, what would you say is it's kind of similar for you as a rapper?
It's definitely similar. I think I'll say that Simi is a little bit more established in what she's capable of doing on the singing side of things. I think I'm still like growing as a rapper, really being technical with my shit. But I'll be at my crib, come up with something, and then take it to my friend's house, who's my producer, David, which is part of another group. But yeah, it's pretty much exactly the same. You go in, maybe start at your cribs, think of an idea, then take it to your producer, record, listen to it over and over again, take stuff away, maybe rewrite something. It's pretty much exactly the same. It's not really that exciting.
I feel like sometimes when people see studio sessions like for rappers, like I don't know, they be smoking in there. It's basically like a club. Like I don't know how people do that.
I feel like that's just like the finished product. After they're done recording the song,
but I
play the song, it'll be vibe.
I will say, because I've been in the studio with some rappers and like it's like that when they're recording, like they'll have their bros there, like just sitting there, like smoking or drinking.
I guess they need the hype in the vibe.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like
10 hours.
I'm saying, like I don't know. Like I've seen it, and I'm like, y'all know how to do y'all got it. But me, I can't like have too many distractions. Like I don't even like when there's a lot of people because I feel like it's just more pressure. Which is why I also like to prepare at home before I come, because I really just when I come to it, I gotta zone in and pay attention to that.
So let's say you have like a bad day in the studio. How do you stop yourself from getting discouraged? You know, like I'm pretty sure like in the creative process for you, and also Kaleb, like there are times where you go in there, you know what you want to do, but it's just not coming out the way you want it. You know, so how do you stop yourself from getting discouraged like other?
That literally happened to me last week.
I was about to say that's my journey right now.
Like I went to the studio last week. I had plans to record, finish recording a song. Like I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go get this done. It just wasn't working. Like I got the lead vocals done, but when it came to the harmonies, it just wasn't making sense. It wasn't locking in, and I was gonna just tell myself, just stick it through. Like you gotta like just sing it. But I was like, because if I do this now and I rush through it and like I just force it out, I'm gonna come back and not like and have to re-record it anyway. So I was like, you know what? It's just not working today. So sometimes like. I'm not gonna sit here and say I got it like confidence-wise. Like I definitely beat myself up a lot. Like I put a lot of pressure on myself. But I think like just remembering that one, I am talented and like nobody can take that away from me. And so like just because I have one bad day does not necessarily mean that like I suck. Even though I might say that in the moment, like just remind myself that like it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to not have it all the time. And also remembering that like this is gonna sound really bad, like. Even if I put something out there in my terms is bad, like something's like I'm not so shitty that like I can put out something that's gonna be like, oh, it's trash. So it's like even if I don't like it, that's what we're like. Even no matter what I put out, like somebody somewhere out there is gonna enjoy it, even if I don't like it. So it's like, don't beat yourself up too much about the mistakes. Like obviously I still want to make stuff that I'm gonna like I don't put it out unless I like it, but. Just remember that like nobody's gonna hear that small voice crack. Nobody's gonna hear that like you will still make good music even if it's not good to your standards. Like to my standards.
It's definitely being a balance of like being your biggest critic, but also forgiving yourself for the mistakes here and there, and giving yourself just that space to operate.
Literally.
No, I feel that. So like, we definitely want to go like more into like the music, but like before we get into like describe like the song making process, like. Cause people pull up a beat, start freestyling, but it's like people don't really know what they start talking about. So it's like, how do you sit down and like actually write a song? What experiences do you have to pull from, and what is like basically like what's the whole songwriting process?
So with me with songwriting, it's so funny because I remember saying before that like one of the reasons why I was so skeptical to make music was because I could never finish songs, and I didn't think I was a good songwriter until. I remember like getting compliments like, oh my god, your lyricism. I was like, mine. But I think so. A lot of times I either pull from personal experiences or I tell a story. So I think storytelling it's fun because it's like it doesn't have to be my experience, but like I just put myself in those shoes, like, and it kind of lets me put myself in situations that I may not be in like ever, but it's like so right about because it's like I'm just telling a story. So a lot of the times I'll get the beat. I'll listen to it, and first I'll figure out the melody. So I'll figure out how I want the song to go, or at least figure out how the verse is going to go, or how the chorus is going to go. So I make the melody first. Then when I make the melody, I just kind of think about like jumble lyrics, like just start saying stuff, and then I'm like, okay, what do I want to talk about in this song? I'll give an example. There was a song that I was writing a couple days ago actually, and I started writing. It's basically about like very simple stuff, like this girl's trying to get this guy's attention in the club, whatever, like I'm trying to get you to dance with me. And as I was writing it, it kind of sounded like, this is gonna sound so weird, but it kind of sounded like you know, like the like fairy tale like mermaids, right? Yeah. How like they lure people in, and so I was thinking about that. I was like, okay, that could be a cool concept. So then I started adding the element of water into the song. So now I'm talking about like, oh, come, like, you know, as a metaphor, it's like, come step into the water, like, come dance with me, come, like, you know, like, I'm reeling you in type stuff. So I'll finish writing, and I spent a lot of time with lyricism too, because like everything just has to make sense. Right. Everything has to click. Yeah. Once it clicks, then I'm like, yo, it's done.
I don't think people really realize, especially for like R&B, how important lyricism is. Like, not just for rap, but R&B.
I'm telling you, I think honestly, it's much harder to write lyrics for R&B than it is for rap, and here's why. You can argue this. Here's why I think it's hard. Only because with rapping, it's almost similar to talking. Like you can say a lot more in rapping than you can with R&B. So like somebody could literally rap and say like, oh, yesterday I went to McDonald's and I saw a fine shorty and I was trying to go smack. Like somebody can say that in a rap, like, and if you say it well enough, like it can work. I can't sing that. Like it's not gonna work. Like I cannot sing. I went to McDonald's yesterday and I saw a shorty and like I can't sing that. So like you have to be more creative, especially when like it's very easy to talk about the same things with R&B. Like I remember talking about this before. Like there's this thing I like to call like soft R&B, which is basically like your very basic like R&B. It's like slow music with the guitar. The lyrics are about love or about heartbreak, and it's always very like basic lyrics like I loved you but you didn't love me and this and stuff. And like it works because it's like, you know, that's the formula. Like there's a formula for R&B, but it's like how can you elevate that? You elevate that through lyricism. You elevate that through melodies. You elevate that through production. Like you have to think like. Cause you know, like you hear like similar melodies in a lot of R&B music, and like, you have to. That's why I have to make sure. Like I think when I'm making a song, okay, what is the first thing to think of, and then how can I change that? Because the first thing I think of is always going to be that basic structure that I have in my head from all the years that I listen to gospel and all that stuff. Like that's where that structure comes from. Then it's like, okay, what can I pull from? Can I pull this? Can I pull a melody from an Afrobeat song? Can I pull a melody from a rock song? Can I pull a melody from a pop song? Like, can I take these different elements to make it different from just your very mundane, simple R&B song?
Right. So how many different like genres you listen to create one song? Because you just said rock, you said pop, you said gospel. So how many do you listen to on a daily basis?
So just in general, I really do listen to 3 or 4 main genres, but like I listen to a lot of different music. But my main genres are R&B, Afrobeats, and Alt soul, gospel. And then, you know, I have more people music. Right. So, but like, even with R&B, like I listen to a lot of different R&B artists. Like my biggest inspiration is Brandy. I think she, her creativity in her music is just, it's out of this world. So I pull a lot from her, I will say that. But I really just take melodies from different songs. Like it really just is like song by song. And like a lot of the times when I listen to a beat, what I'll do is I'll think, okay, what does this remind me of? What song does this remind me of? And then I'll go listen to, so like, for example, I guess, I got this one beat, and I was like, it was kind of like a little bit more edgy, like a bit more like heavier with the bass, and like had like a really kind of rock sample a little bit. And I was like, so what can this remind me of? I didn't want it to pull from directly a rock song, but like, who has that kind of like edgy music or something like kind of like that? And then Rihanna clicked into my head. So then I was like, okay, because I'm not necessarily comfortable with this like specific type of music, like I don't usually make this type of music, I went and I listened to her albums. So I'll go in and I'll listen like what type of melodies did she use? How did she go about the lyricism for the song? Like what did she do to structure the song? So then I'll listen to that, and then I'll take that inspiration from those albums, and then I'll start making the song. So that's what I usually do. It's like I usually figure out what the vibe is, and then I'll find a song or an album or an artist that is similar to what idea I have for the song, listen, and then take inspiration from that.
It's crazy how like me, Yeriel, like everybody else, the general population, we listen to music just to listen, just to vibe.
Yes.
So like artists listen to music to study it, to apply it to their own music. So
and that was the biggest thing I noticed when I transitioned into an artist was like the way I listen to music completely changed. Because it's no longer I'm just listening to it for the vibe. Like I'm listening to that harmony. I'm listening to the structure. I'm listening to the lyrics. Like I'm listening to the song. And even still, like the way I would listen to a song is not the way a producer would listen to a song. It's not the way an engineer would listen to a song. So it's like entering that world, entering that space. I'm talking like it just completely changed the way I listen to music because I can't hear a song like just as a song anymore. I'm hearing the parts that make it a whole instead of just whole, you know?
Yeah, no, that's crazy. And I'm sitting here just like listening to the whole process. It's pretty like fascinating. I don't know how y'all minds work.
Yeah, my mind, but I can't do that.
Like I was thinking mental notes, so I mean I'm trying to do a part of solos. So like let's talk about the music, like, cause like obviously like, and I've heard like both of you guys' music, like, and it's been surprising, especially when I heard Kaleb, like, just hearing like rap, you hear rap, you hear DMV rappers, is like, way it's just completely different vibe. Same thing with you singing, like the way y'all sing and the way, cause I feel like when it comes to R&B, I feel like it's going like a certain direction, and you can kind of see it. But you guys manage to like both be in your own different lane. So like talk about like, do you have a favorite song? Talk about your music and talk about like how hard are you about your music basically.
So I would say that I've grown like a lot. I feel like with every song, it's like I've grown more as an artist and as a person. And I think like I would say my favorite song of mine right now is my most recent release, which was Sunset. And I think the reason why I like it so much. I like that song so much because like I really tapped into a part of songwriting and into a part of myself that I never really had with my music. Like I wrote a song after a breakup, so
I was listening to part of it. Every time I listen to your music, I'm like, damn, you find this girl some love. That's the general theme of all the music. Like love.
No, it's interesting though because like I've heard that to like like the general theme of all music is love, but it's different types of love.
Right.
So like Mofef, for example, that was on my EP. That's about myself. Like that was about that. I wrote that song as encouragement for myself because I was going through a very hard time, and I was like, "This is the song I need to hear right now, so I'm just gonna make it."
So like self-love type of vibe.
Yeah, it was like because the song is like, what am I singing? Song? Seasons will change, night will become day. There's no wrong way. Like just basically saying that like you're gonna find your way. Like there's light at the end of the tunnel, and that's a form like that type of song is self-love. Like there's other songs that I wrote like. I'm actually trying to find love. And then there's songs, like Sunset, which is talking about basically realizing that the end is coming and having to accept it, even though it hurts. Like, it hurts a lot to have to accept that, like, yeah, this is come to an end, but it's gonna come, like, which is why I use the theme of a sunset, because like, no matter what happens in the daytime, the sunset is gonna come regardless. So like, you have to accept it and like make way for the nighttime or the moon or that sad part or that moment to come. So like, I think that's why I said I like that song so much because I really tapped into a part. Like I remember I was recording that song in my room. It's like 5 a.m. I was zoned in, like, and I had a lot of strong emotions during that time. So like, every time I hear that song, I'm just like, I just feel it. Like I feel all those emotions, and it's also like I forgot what I was saying. But I just think that with all of my songs, like I try to tap into my own emotions in hopes that like it'll relate to somebody else, or like somebody else will get it. Because that was the thing I was scared of with Sunset too. I was like, are they gonna get it? Like when I put it out, like it makes sense. Like, but a lot of people do like the song, and a lot of people like. It does touch them. Yeah. So, with my music, I'm very proud of what I have out right now. I definitely need more. That's what I'm trying to work on now. But I'm very proud of what I have out. Even the songs that I don't even necessarily like as much as others. I think for what I have out right now, I'm pretty proud of what I've put out. And it's hard for me to say that because I don't really proud of myself a lot. But I think what I have out is like pretty representative of not only who I am now, but how much I've grown as an artist since my first song.
100%. And this is crazy to hear like the way you just kind of manufacture that concept of sunset. Because I don't, have you ever seen Don't Look Up on Netflix?
I haven't yet.
So basically, it's so crazy because what you just said, like literally, there's supposed to be some sort of comet coming to Earth, and like it's guaranteed, so it's gonna wipe out all of the whole Earth, and it's like you have to be people in that movie. People have to come to grips like, oh yeah, no, we're all gonna die. Type of thing. So it's crazy how like you think of that concept. Literally, the whole movie's being made about that. So like that's really amazing. I know one of my favorite songs, but you definitely like Faded with Joyce.
Oh yeah, that's my
favorite song.
I had so much fun.
Yeah, talk about that because like the whole, I'm hearing like the melodies, you guys both harmonizing. How was that whole process?
This was when I first got the beat, I was like, yeah, it's the one.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Like I knew. Yes, come on now. And like, I remember like I was like, yeah, this is definitely reminding me of like 90s. This is giving me Brandy, which obviously, like I said, is one of my inspirations.
Right.
So I was listening to a lot of Brandy before I started writing the song because I was like, if I'm gonna do this, I need to do it right. And I just remember having so much fun because it's fun. I'm like really playing. Like that was the first song that I was really able to play with a lot of harmonies, which I love doing, like I said. And like, when it came to a feature, I was like, I kind of already knew like I was gonna have Joyce on there because like, I was like, Joyce is like, she has that 90s voice. She has those 90s vocals. She has that like, she has it. And I was like, this is what I need on the song.
Right.
So when that was the first time we ever met in person was the first time at studio session.
Wow, you actually imagine like that.
Yeah, like it was amazing. And like, I just remember like, when we were done, I was so proud of it. I was like, man, this is so, like I love this song, like it's so funny, like I love it. And that was my top song on Spotify. Which was crazy because like, I didn't know this was my music, but it was my top song on Spotify this year. But that's one of the songs I'm most proud of too. I just think that like, I executed it exactly how I wanted to in my head. And like Joyce's feature just elevated the song even more. And like, I was able to have fun and like do a lot of things that I hadn't before prior to that song, and like I really loved it.
That's very solid. And another song I want to touch on was like the Swim with you and Kaleb. Like,
oh yeah.
I don't know if that was the first song you put out or something like that.
That was his first song.
I just heard it and I was like, wow, like, it's just the whole vibe of that. I'm thinking, it's a David or something like that. It's gonna be some chat. Maybe when I'm hearing that, I'm like, no, it's completely different. So talk about that collab. Talk about the hook, like the whole inspiration. Kaleb, we can focus your song.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you talk about this.
So before Swim came out, like a few months before, I was like, damn, I gotta release music. I'm writing verses to shit. I'm looking for beats, and I'm like, the beats are cool, and like I've developed my skill to a point where it's like, okay, I can write a verse over anything, but I need to find something. And I'm looking at like, you know, old school beats, 90s shit, whatever. And I'm just like, fuck it, I'm gonna try and look at like some more modern shit. So I came across this Mac Miller beat on YouTube. I was just like, you know what, let me try and write some shit to this. And I was like, I wrote some shit and I sent it. And then Simi was like, yo, this is nice, let me hop on this. And then I was like, okay, bet. And then I wrote another verse at the end, and that was pretty much it. It was pretty quick.
Yeah. Sorry.
But nah.
What I would say is, I remember when I was listening, I was like, let me hop on it. The song that I took inspiration from for the hook was, that one Wale and SZA song. Yes. That was the song I took inspiration from because I was like, it kind of is the same vibe of like, you know, a rapper, like he's really rapping and then like a nice melodic singer coming in for the chorus. And so that's where I took inspiration from. I was like, you know, that's kind of like what I did too. I really wrote that chorus in like 5 minutes. I was sitting there, I was like, because like he told me the beat that he wanted for the song, he wanted it to, you know, have the concept of swim in it and saying what I mean as the rapper. So I was like, okay, let me figure something out. And I was writing, and I was like, boom. And then I screen recorded it and I sent it in the group chat. And he was like, this is tough. So I was like, that was really fun. I think like,
it was a very good first song.
Yes.
Definitely took me by surprise. I think I told Giles, I was like, because obviously I heard about Simi already now. So now we got a rapper this song, but we just have to listen to it. I just remember the song because usually if I listen to music, especially when it's like my peers, like, I'm not gonna be out here, but shit hard. I'm saying, but I really have to let you know that.
I think for me, for Kaleb, like Reasons to Change was probably my favorite like track. Like you can talk about that for a little bit. Like you going through that because with me, when I heard you spitting, I was like, this reminds me like old Drake. I was like, old Drake vibes, and I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if you like the comparison or if you hate it, but that's
You just gotta accept it, bro.
I just saw it. Everybody who tells me about your music, they're like, "Dang, you really remind me of old Drake."
100% that's the one.
In terms of the comparison, I don't mind it. I'm not gonna. Do I like? Oh yeah, you're like this nigga, and he's a light skinned nigga. He be doing his shit that I'd be questionable, I guess. But I don't care about the comparison that much. But I definitely hear it. He's one of my bigger inspirations in terms of like his older shit, like his mixtape stuff. Before he had really blown up, is definitely one of my bigger music inspirations. Yeah. That song in particular, I don't know. I had the idea, and I came up with the title a long time ago. It was a long time before the song was even like, before I had a beat or whatever. And then I'm just in the studio and we're working on a mixtape or whatever, and my man's David is like, I had actually put this loop together of some pianos and stuff at my crib, sent it over to him, we're in the studio, he basically finishes the beat, and I lock in and I start writing. And I guess the concept of the song was, okay, so life, you grow in life. No matter what, you're gonna, unless you literally not doing nothing, you're forcing yourself to grow because you're living. And then I was thinking, it was like, I'm also very comfortable with what I have right now. I love my friends, I love my family, I, like the situation that I'm in. Obviously I want to better my life and shit like that, but I'm very comfortable with what I have right now, but not content, I guess. But in the pursuit that we all have, you experience new stuff, you go through new things, and some of those things aren't good. Or some of those things aren't great, or you have those bad moments or whatever. And then you kind of have these moments that force you to change almost in a negative way. You have things that happen to you that, it hurts to grow a little bit. So basically what I was thinking of, I was like, okay, if I'm gonna change, why can't life give me a reason to? Like, why does it have to be so sudden? Why did it sometimes when you're making mistakes, you're not always conscious that you're making a mistake in the moment, because, I've lived my life, this young life that I've had, and I've made pretty significant mistakes up until this point. And, sometimes I wasn't prepared for them, and it's as simple as that. And so when I'm writing, I'm thinking like, damn. So at the end of the song, I say something along the lines of, what did I say? I said, shit, Giles know my lyrics better than me. I won't lie, I love this shit that I got. I hope that my pursuit don't make me something I'm not. Please don't get it twisted, I can't keep it the same. But is it wrong that I'd rather have a reason to change? And that's basically the summary of the song. But
crazy. I'm sitting here, I'm listening, I'm like, alright, because like y'all really sound like so supposed to be mature when it comes like the music sense. I feel like, especially like in the era, I feel like when people decide to become rappers, I feel like they pick one line and they stay in that. But like you guys are clearly like trying to do your own thing. You're pulling from your own experience. Like what you just said, like that just sounds like a poem or something. So it's like, nah, but y'all definitely doing your shit.
So do y'all have like dream collabs? Like people that y'all want to work with? Coming in the future.
If I could just get a one-on-one studio session, I don't even gotta release the song. If I could get a one-on-one studio session with Brandy, my life would be complete. Honestly, like Brandy. I love her, and then also, even though SZA dubbed me when I released my cover of her song, but it's okay. I know she's seen it. Okay, SZA, if you're watching, some of the collab, we can put our differences aside. Okay, I can forgive you, but I need the collab. But I think Brandy would definitely be my top. But SZA's definitely as well.
The dream collab. It's hard for me to say, because like I said, Drake is one of my bigger inspirations, but I don't know if I would want to work with Drake right now. If it was like, if he decided to go like really rap over some old shit that he used to do, then yeah, I would love to rap with a nigga like that. I don't know. One person that I've always thought I wanted to work with is actually James Fauntleroy, the singer. He just has such a smooth vocal tone. But I don't know, man. And that's the thing, when it comes to my music, I think, just to bring it back to sort of the thing that Simi said, is that it's easier to write rap lyrics. I do kind of agree in a sense, because I can be very literal. I can say what I want to say, exactly how it happened. But I think that kind of takes away from the music element of it a little bit. So I'm trying to figure out how to combine, R&B elements into rap a little bit without having to sing necessarily, which I probably will get into eventually. But James Fongleroy, I feel like just his tone is something that, like, if I can recreate that in a rap way, then that would be like the music that I want to create, just because his tone is so smooth. And that's what I kind of go for musically anyways. It's a smooth sounding thing. Yeah. So if I had to say anybody right now, it'd probably be James Fongleroy.
That's a good pick. Girls like Beyonce.
Facts.
Yeah. But let's talk about like more so like the direction of music. Like, Simi, what's your thoughts on like the current direction of R&B? Because like, just think about like R&B albums of the past. You know, who are you looking towards? Like, what's your opinions about the direction? Who do you think is going to be like the most prominent artist?
Simi and Liadi.
I think with R&B right now, I feel like it's very easy for people to say like, oh, R&B is not the same as it was back then. Like, R&B is so bad right now, blah. But people who say that, they're not looking.
Right.
Because there's a lot of R&B artists that I listen to right now that are gonna like stand the test of time. Like Snow Allegra, she's standing the test of time.
Amazing.
I think Brent is gonna stand the test of time as well, because he has created a lane for himself that nobody has touched yet. And I think that's what a lot of R&B artists are doing right now. Like the ones that are gonna last, that's what they're doing. SZA, she was one of the first to create the music. Well, not one of the first to create the type of music, but like she made a lane for herself. Right. Like when you think of SZA's music, you only think of SZA's music.
A lot of people trying to fight it though. A lot of people trying to fight it.
Oh, now they are. See, that's what comes with it. Right. Because she created that lane, now everybody else is trying to hop on. But she made that lane, which is why she wants to say this time. Brent made his own sound. Snow Allegra, she has that like old soul and modern music. Like she's standing the test of time. Like there's so many artists that, especially that I listen to, that I know are going to like, they're gonna last. And it's because either they created a lane for themselves and have mastered it, or whatever lane they're in, they're doing extremely well. I feel like sometimes when people talk about modern R&B, they think about the Billboard artists, or like the popular artists, so like, not to drag nobody, but like, you know, like people like Queen Asia, like she makes R&B.
Well, you know,
yeah. But I'm saying like people think about what's on the charts and they're like, oh, this is not R&B, but like you're looking at the wrong place to find out where real R&B is, which is why you think that R&B is all like. I'm not saying, niggas is not saying about the rain like how they used to, or singing in the rain, of course, but like, music evolves. I feel like people get really stuck on what they know because they romanticize the nostalgia of it. Like, they romanticize the past, like, don't drag me for this. But I feel like there's a lot of artists back then that people, like, say they like that, like, to me, their music is just boring. Like, they're good singers.
You want to name one?
No,
you gotta name one.
I'm not gonna get dragged. I'm not gonna get dragged. I'm not gonna get dragged. But I'm just gonna say that like it's not to say that they didn't make good music or they didn't, like they can't sing, but it's like I listen and I'm just like, okay, like I'm not excited. And maybe it's just because my ear is not used to that song, because like, I mean, I listen to Brandy. Brandy's a 90s artist technically, but she was doing shit that nobody was doing back then to me. So I just think that like people who talk so much, like so highly about the past, like you learn from the past, but like you need to accept or be appreciative of where music is going right now. Like there's so much creativity that is happening right now. People are doing things in R&B that haven't been done in 10 years. Like creativity is flourishing, especially with the age that like a lot of people can just make, like have access to be able to make music. Like I feel like shitting on R&B right now is just doing it because you're not really.
You're not really tapped into.
Yeah, you're really not tapped in, in my opinion. Yeah. So the artists that I listed, like those are people who I think are gonna really be at the forefront of R&B, and like even outside of R&B, like people who are really gonna be doing it. Like Doja Cat, she's a star, and she's gonna continue to be a star.
Yeah, she can do it all.
Pink Panthers, like she literally created a whole genre of music. Like she's stamped. If she stops now, she's still stamped. Like I just feel like there's a lot of people that are really making great music and like really pushing the bounds of creativity and pushing the bounds of even genres. And like I mean, because y'all know how like they like to do black people. They always put everybody in the R&B or the hip hop categories.
Right.
But like black people are making it everywhere. Like pop artists, R&B artists, rock artists, alternative, indie. Like we're pushing boundaries, and I feel like for someone to be so stuck in the past about what it used to be, like you're really not seeing what's going on right now with the beauty that's happening right now in music as well. So,
I agree 100%. Like definitely Snow is one of my favorite artists. 100%. I feel like her music is just, and I feel like what you can really tell was her music. You know, I feel like since Control was what dropped 2017.
And that shit still
like she drops one single and it's top of the charts. I hate you know what I'm saying. So it's like you can tell people are into standing the test of time. I think what people also don't realize is that I know people miss old music, but 90% of music is a sample these days. Like all music you love is in the sample. It's you heard it, you know what I'm saying? You kind of new joint and Living Wild, it's a sample, you know what I'm saying? So you can a lot of this music, like it's still there. You know
and there's a lot of R&B artists that are making older because that's what people love to do. They like to be like, where are the people who are making rings? Where are the people who are making 90s?
Right.
And then there's artists out there that are doing it. You're not looking. You're just talking just to talk.
Yeah.
Like you're just saying that because you want to be different. You want to be special. And it's like, no. Because if you really wanted to find artists like that, you would go find artists like that. Because there's artists out there that are making music like what they make in the 90s and stuff. And here's what I'll say too, like, of course I'm talking highly about R&B and like where it's going, but like, I definitely think R&B artists specifically, like, we need to stop being lazy. I feel like, remember what I was talking about before, like that stock R&B, like there's a formula to make an R&B song. You get a slow beat, you sing some melodies on it, you get a chorus, a verse.
Some 808s in there.
And like, I feel like y'all, we need to stop being lazy when it comes to our creativity. Like, having talent is only one aspect. You have to have the skill. You have to be putting in the work. You need to be tapping into your creativity. You need to be listening. You need to be taking inspiration. Like, you cannot just ride on talent alone. Because talent can get you far, but it's not going to get you where you need to be. Because that's how people...
What's that KD quote?
Hard work beats talent.
When talent doesn't work hard. Yeah, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
They throw the right quote.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Kevin Durant has said that. Kevin Durant has said that.
It's a quote and say it's from King Rob. Like, somebody had to said it before.
I think somebody said it before. I heard it, bro. I was like, no way Kevin Durant quote.
Is it really good?
Yeah, Kevin Durant quoted somebody saying that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I just know it as a Kevin Durant quote. And she don't know what the fuck.
Like, literally, exactly that. Like, I feel like with a lot of people, especially because it's so easy to make music nowadays, and it's like, it's easy to make something that'll like blow up on TikTok, or something that like, it'll be catchy to somebody's ears. But I feel like not enough people are thinking about longevity. You're thinking about how can I make it now, and now how is my music last the test of time. Like, you really have to think, and that's what I think about with my music, which is why, like, of course you gotta focus on the trend now to make sure that like you're in the loop.
Yeah.
But you have to think about, like, you have to put work into your craft. Because I'm telling you right now, talent will only take you so far. If you don't have the skill to make it last, you're gonna be a one-hit wonder, or you're gonna last 2-3 years, 4 years, maybe even 5, and then fall off because you're not gonna know how to make stuff that lasts.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
And if I could just...
I'm just saying, because like, I see so many talented people, even in this area, like, I see so many talented people, like, y'all can sing, like, y'all just not putting in the work that you need to. And it's like, it makes me like sad, because I'm just like, I see your potential, but you have to put in the work. Like, you cannot just wait for these things to fall in your lap. Because I don't know where I heard this from, but I remember hearing somewhere like, a viral moment is 7 years in the making, type shit. Like, a viral, somebody who just blew up, like those new artists, like best new artists, they're not new artists. They've been in the game for years. Like, Doja Cat had been making music for 7-8 years before she emerged as a new artist. Like, you have to, and obviously, and that's why when she blew up, she knew exactly what to do, and that's why she capitalized off of everything. She got viral off a joke of a song, and look at where she is right now. It's because she spent all those years learning. She spent all those years building her craft, knowing how to market, knowing how to build her brand, and building a team. So when she blew up, it was like another regular day. It was just more people seeing her now.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, people are like, you rush to try and like, oh, I want to make it. And it's like, yes, of course, everybody wants to make it, but like, there's a time for everything, and you don't want to blow before you're ready. Because if you do, you're fucked. You don't know what to do. You gonna get all this shit, you don't know what to do with it, and like, if you don't know how to handle it right, you gonna crash and burn, like, literally.
Yo, and I'm gonna just piggyback off of the fact that you was talking about when it comes to like real music, and when you guys were talking about labels and comparisons in terms of who I get compared to and shit like that. I haven't been told personally, but I can hear it, you know.
Yeah.
In it, people be saying, "Oh, you're a real rapper." I don't like that. If there's one thing, a label that I don't like is you're a real rapper, because when it comes to real music or real rap or whatever, a lot of these niggas that are making the music that, you know, would be considered not real rap, like, or whatever the case may be, these niggas can really rap.
Yeah.
Like really, really, really rap. Whether it be Lil Baby or Durk or any of these niggas can really rap. They can put the words together. It might not be as like technical as like what it was in the 90s and shit like that. But bro, these niggas can rap, and they're doing it like the flows that they come up with. The niggas in the 90s is not doing what they're doing right now. And it's just it's an era, and like she was saying, music evolves. It doesn't make it less real. It does. And again, to her point, people get lazy. The same shit over and over again. So be creative, you know, branch out, try and do this shit. But like, bro, the whole real rappers, real singers, real R&B, real this, that, whatever, like, nah, bro. That's just not, niggas are talented and are doing the shit.
I'm saying
it's just in their own lane.
Literally, because could Aaliyah make Control?
Oh.
Whoa.
Oh, trying to get controversial.
I'm just asking, could Aaliyah make Control? Like,
listen, it's my answer to the question.
and I'm just asking that out there, like, I'm dragging them. I know how y'all like to tussle.
It's different areas.
But it's like, that's what I'm saying. And like, because y'all want to talk about real R&B, real R&B. Like, this is real R&B.
Yeah.
SZA is real R&B. Like, whatever R&B is what it is. Like, I don't know why people get so stuck on things being what it is, what it was. When you have to focus, like, everything grows.
Yeah,
We're growing as an entire generation. You don't think the music was gonna grow with it either, like. And I know what people try to drag, you know, like, people be going on tracks and be bullshitting, and they be going viral. But it's like, damn, y'all niggas don't have fun either. Like, they was doing that back then too.
Yeah, of course.
They can, like, literally, like,
They just talk about anything on the back.
can't touch the like, what are you talking about? And it's like, it was crazy.
Hey, go ahead, bro.
No, but like, let's be real.
Oh man.
That song cool though. That song is
and
cool
it's a
though.
good song, and that's what I'm saying. Like, people were doing what we're doing now. People was doing that back then
It's just
too.
a different style, yeah.
It's just another style. So like, we need to stop getting hung up on this real R&B, real rap, real this, real that. You like what you like, and you don't like what you don't like. But you gotta respect where respect is due. Because these niggas out here that are not real rappers, you're not spitting, but they. Can you do that? Like, and y'all want to hush up. Because they could buy your life. Like, calm down.
Imagine what a rapper would try to do in 2018 or 2008 to now. Wouldn't be the same.
Literally, and it's like, you have to pay respect where respect is due. Like, maybe you, like, I'm not gonna say, like, I don't like all the rappers out here, but they do what they gotta do. Like, it's preaching to somebody.
Yeah, and even the trap niggas, like the trap niggas from the DMV, they're hard as shit too. Like, they're
Yeah,
good at what they do.
K-Dog be rapping.
K-Dog is tough.
She gonna be rapping, you know what I'm saying?
So it's like, let's not bash, like, you know, I'm not gonna sit here and say, like, I'm saying when music is bad, like, I don't like the song, but like, at the end of the day, when it comes to, like, especially like genres specifically, like when it comes to rap, when it comes to like different types of R&B, like, it's not my thing, it's just not my thing.
Right.
But if I can tell an artist is good, even though it's not my thing, I'll pay my respects. I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, you don't make real R&B, because it don't sound like a 90s song.
And that same boring, repetitive shit that happens now was happening back then too. Like, you look at the 2000s, like before 2015, everybody was doing relatively similar shit. Like, there was this whole Rick Ross era where it was like the same sound, everybody was trying to hop on that shit, and it's the same thing. Like, it's just different.
It's just different. Yeah, like, the same things are happening. History repeats. People like to, like, romanticize because it's been the past. Like, they like that whole, like, feeling of nostalgia, like, oh, everything else in the past is better. But it's like, you really go back and listen, sometimes that shit was just as, like, fine, like, it wasn't that good, but, like, you like it because that's what you liked in middle school. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
Like,
hate the people that used to be like, oh, I was born in the wrong generation.
No, you're talking about you putting it on. Go back and listen to it. Like, nobody.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You can listen to all that old shit
The
too.
era of technology,
Yeah.
like, you can literally go look. If you want to be part of the 90s that are so big, you better go and do it. You better dedicate your life to it, because you can't. Nobody's even gonna judge you. Like, just do it. You be sounding like, I feel like people just try to be self-righteous with that shit, and it's just like it's okay.
Gas was cheaper though. I said gas was
Gas
cheaper.
That's cheap. I missed that. Oh, you got your first PSA from SOAL Sound, man. Y'all gotta tighten up, man.
Before we close out, I want to ask, for Simi and Giles, who are like, for you one person, Giles one person, who's one person you like to see on the show with us? And before you answer, this will be has to be a person who has to also get.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I'm thinking about it right now.
And while y'all thinking, I want everyone to tell me your favorite current R&B artists and your favorite 90s or 2000s artists.
Ooh.
So we can start from right to left on your side.
Current artist right now? Like
Current,
R&B?
yeah. Current and former.
Current R&B artist right now. Cause Brand, I listen to a lot of Brand.
Damn, that's what I don't know. There's so many.
I listen to a lot of Brand.
Yeah,
It's a lot, but.
so I can say for me, current is Frank.
Okay.
My baby.
Frank, man.
I would say
Nah, Frank.
older is Kareem Bailey Ray. I don't know if y'all know.
That's my girl.
I just found this one song that she had, bro. That shit great. She hard.
Nah.
Older might be Lauren Hill for me.
That's a real good answer. That's a real good answer.
I think my current would definitely be Snow for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like I'm still swag now.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. My current is that it's tied between brands now. I just can't choose.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
But then for former,
I mean,
especially
Simi,
New Edition, they're my favorite.
Oh yeah.
Y'all niggas know me, y'all know.
Oh my gosh. Y'all.
For me, male, I'd probably say Division for right now.
Okay.
And female, I have to say Snow. Nah, Snow is today. Division is Snow. Back then, I'm gonna have to say Lauren Hill, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm definitely not OC tapped into back in the day of 90s R&B. I'm trying to get into that. So this year, 2022, I'm trying to tap in for sure.
Brandy was one of the ones, man.
Bro,
I'm really trying to choose
I mean,
Brandy, but I don't want to be like
Brandy right up there.
Brandy's up, happy, like.
I know her discography.
Mine, I'll say current. I gotta go Snow or Brent. That's just because I listen to them the most right now. But
Snow is just,
yeah, she's ridiculous. 90s, fuck. Damn. I'll go right now. I'll say Mary J. Blige.
Yeah.
That's my safe answer though.
So you already know my pet, old lady. Current.
They might watch this. You better pick it up.
Chill. No, this is hard. Like, I really changed my new favorite artist like every
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You can give top two.
Top two. That's so hard.
There's a lot. You can say Lady Day. You can say.
Like,
You can say.
I think.
Who else?
Oh my god.
Also, Tiana Taylor too. She
Tiana
fire.
Taylor.
Tiana
She's
fire.
not making no more music. I actually.
I know.
That's
Right? It's so hard
unfortunate.
to make
Yeah,
it.
she's
I
not.
feel like people sleep on Salon. I like Salon.
Mine's good, yep.
Yeah.
I think it would have to be between Frank. Sis is just gonna be my safe answer because that's who I be like listening to a lot. But there's a lot of artists that I really do respect. You know who people are sleeping on? Sir.
Sure.
I know you're not sleeping, but like
Yeah.
he makes
Sure.
some amazing.
Sure.
I love to work with him. That's one of my like collabs I love.
Very good choice.
His voice, come on.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I just
But yeah, like everybody you said is also in my favorites. Like I listen to Snow a lot, I listen to Brent a lot. But my safe answers are Frank and Steve.
So,
Yeah.
How about the people?
Oh, damn, I forgot about that.
Oh.
Wait, what the people?
You really want on the show.
Oh, shoot, I forgot about that.
Bro,
Oh.
nigga, you have a perfect answer.
Joyce.
Yo.
What, Darren?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Oh, it
was
was
gonna say.
there, yeah.
Yeah, so, Caleb collabed with this, artist group, Wadera.
Okay.
The mixtape.
oh no, I heard it. The song.
Ooh-ha.
Ooh-ha.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like a 50, it was like 50 influence.
I got that clear. I don't even know how.
Oh, it's
Oh,
my singles are I use the technique.
I see the Dusty KO's on.
Yeah, that's not what Yeah, we'll worry about it.
Yeah. Let's not.
But it's not black. What's up,
Yeah, now Wadera, this is no producer. producer rap duo.
That's the group that David's part of.
Yeah, David's part of that group.
That's my producer.
Well, there, man. You want to sit down the curb?
I would say my baby Joyce Sumaru.
The killer.
She's desperate.
OD. Like
y'all should really check out her music if you have a chance to.
If it's anything like that,
I'm telling you right now, she's the one. She's it, and she's like, y'all better be ready for her. She's not gonna
she will be on.
Get y'all back at the end of the year, do a little growth check.
Oh yeah, I love that.
Y'all missing the
maybe a performance.
Let's talk about it.
I'm into so.
Alright, so
Let's talk about it.
Before we close out, what's next for Soul? What y'all got in the lab? What's next? What's the plan?
Music.
Performances, shows.
2021,
Video.
we set the foundation. 2022, we make strides. I think.
Facts.
Her. You gotta put that on the level.
We're still on the curve with us, man.
Appreciate y'all for coming.
Thanks
Yes,
so much
Y'all
for
for listening.
having us.
Back. We out.
Gone.
Yes, sir.